We're now at lesson 27C, and this is organizing information for word problems. We're going to talk about making charts and tables and different ways to solve word problems. And of course, you know I always have links in the description of the video to help you. When we're given a lot of information in a word problem, it may seem confusing. If we organize all the information into a chart, a table, or a list, it may help. And Dave bought a can of coffee for $8.50, 2 steaks for $12.90, a head of lettuce for $1.50, a container of milk for $3.25, carrots for $1.35, and a carton of orange juice for $3.25. How much more did he spend on beverages than meat? So this is a little hard to see because it's all in a paragraph. If we put it into a list and split it into beverages, meat, and vegetables, it's easier to solve the problem. Our beverages are the coffee, the milk, and the orange juice. They total $14. We have our meat, and we have our vegetables, the lettuce and the carrots. How much did he spend on beverages? $14. Meat, $12.90. The difference is $1.10. That was easy, wasn't it? It's a lot easier to solve it looking at this than it was looking at this, okay? Tala needs to book a flight on an airplane and is looking for the best deal, and she has 2 luggage bags. Airline A charges $197 with a $25 baggage fee for the first bag and $35 for the second bag and $100 for the third bag. Airline B charges $210 with the first bag free and the second bag at $25 and $100 for the third bag. Airline C costs $156 with $25 for one bag, $35 for the second bag, and $150 for the third bag. Those are the fees. So which flight is the best deal out of these 3? Well, if we put all this information into a table, it's going to be a lot easier on our eyes. So here we have airline A, B, and C, their ticket prices, and she only has 2 luggage bags, see? So the third luggage bag fee is not important, is it? So when we make our table, we can just do the 2 bags, see? We have to add these together. We can add it with the price of the ticket. We see airline A totals $257, airline B totals $235, and airline C totals $216. So you might look at this and say, well, I can see right away that airline C is the cheapest, but we have to add the bags. So is that cheaper than the $210 with the first bag free? So by organizing it into a list, it makes it easier. This table makes it easier. And for 2 bags of luggage, the best deal is airline C. Bob is looking for an apartment to rent that allows dogs. So apartment A charges $1,450 per month with a $75 per month pet fee. But they've got a special offer that the first month's rent is free. Apartment B is $1,340 per month with a $100 per month pet fee. Apartment C is $1,425 per month and pets are free. Which is the better deal? So remember, this one's got 1 month free rent, but this one charges nothing for pets. So let's make a table. We have apartment A, B, and C, the rents, the pet fee, and the monthly cost, and then we put an annual cost because that's going to help figure out that this is not 12 months for apartment A, it's only 11 months. When we do our math, we see that the monthly cost is $1,525 a month. So that seems like a lot compared to these other ones. But when you consider that 1 month is free, you're getting $1,525 for free, taken off of the annual rent because it's only 11 months. It turns out that apartment A is only $16,775, so that's cheaper than the other 2. So even though apartment A is more per month, because that first month is free, it's the best deal. And the difference between A and C, because it looks like C would be the best deal, it would be the cheapest, right? Apartment A is still $325 a year cheaper than apartment C because of that free month's rent, see? So tables can help us, all right? Here we have a menu. We've got sandwiches, side orders, and beverages. For 1 week, Bob had a burger, fries, and medium soda for lunch. The next week, he had a cheeseburger, onion rings, and sweet tea for lunch. Did he spend more in the first or second week, and what was the difference? So we take our burgers, fries, and medium soda. Burger $5, fries $1.50, medium soda $2.50. Because there's 7 days in a week, that's 7 lunches, isn't it? So we do the 7 times 5 or the 7 times $1.50 and the 7 times $2.50. We add them all up and get $63. Now we also could have just added that one lunch up for the day, the $5 plus the $1.50 plus the $2.50, gotten a total, and then multiplied all of them by 7. That would have worked also. Now, the next week, he had a cheeseburger, onion rings, and sweet tea. So that means he had $5.50, $2, and $2. We multiply each of them times 7, add them up, and get $66.50. Or we could have just totaled up that lunch and multiplied it by 7, couldn't we? We would have gotten the same amount. We can see that the second week he spent more. He spent $3.50 more for the week. Okay? So when it's written in a table, it makes it very easy on our eyes, doesn't it? So remember, there's many strategies to solve a word problem. We can make a table, a chart, or a list to organize the information like we just did. We could even draw a diagram or a graph. Draw little pictures on your scratch paper. We could guess, test, and revise our guess. So we could guess a number, put it into the equation or whatever to see if it worked. And if it's too high or too low, we revise it and change it. We can simplify the problem. If it's a very long, difficult problem and we can't figure out how to solve it, we could try solving a simpler version of it, take out some of the parts. We can write an equation, we can use logical reasoning, and we can even work backwards. Or we could use a combination of these. Here's an example how there's 2 different ways to solve it. Just like we saw that we could multiply each of these times 7 and then add them, or add them all together and then multiply them. A passenger train car has 84 seats and a train has 7 cars. So, one train car has 84 seats, but the entire train has 7 cars. If there's 51 people seated in each car, how many seats are empty? So they want to know how many seats are empty on the whole train. So we can draw a picture of the 7 cars. There's 84 seats in them, so that tells us we need to do 7 times 84. That would be 588. But if only 51 people are sitting in them, there's our 7 train cars with 51 people in each car. We're going to multiply 7 times 51 and get 357. So that tells us there's 231 empty seats on the train. Now we also could have just said there's 84 seats on one train car, 51 people sitting in one train car. That's 33 empty seats per car, and then multiplied that by 7 to get the 231. Same answer, see? So there was a couple of different ways to solve this. We could multiply and then subtract, or we could subtract and then multiply, okay? All right, a vending machine had to be programmed to accept any combination of nickels, dimes, and quarters that totals 40 cents. So how many possible combinations are there? What we can do is make a list. We make a column of 5 cents, 10 cents, and 25 cents for the nickel, dime, and quarter, and we try making combinations. 1 quarter, 1 dime, 1 nickel, that's 40 cents. 1 quarter and 3 nickels, that's 40 cents. 4 dimes, 3 dimes, and 2 nickels. And we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 possible combinations of coins. So making a table of each type of coin and the number of coins needed can help. We could have even put tally marks for each one and made a tally table, right? So you should now be ready to do the skill focus on page 317. Make yourself some tables from the information because they're going to give you a lot of information. So get a nice piece of scratch paper and draw yourself some tables, okay? Our next video is going to be function applications. That's the very last video for the GED playlist. You're going to be ready to take the GED test after this if everything goes right. And I'm going to have these videos linked in the description. This grade 6 one, this grade 8 one, this Algebra I talks about making tables from word problems. Even this Algebra II video, this 8.8, I actually do a logic problem like you would find in a puzzle book. And 3.10, and of course I'm going to have the previous videos for this lesson 27 linked in there too. So, as I always say, make sure you understand this before you move on to the next lesson, okay? And I'm going to have a wrap up at the end of the playlist, at the end of this GED playlist, to go over some pointers and advice to help you pass the GED test after the next video. Okay? So keep trying. I'm proud of you. You know I am. And do your best. All right? I hope you do well in the skill focus. Bye.